What's going on? Testing. I think I'm live, doing something different again today. Now we're streaming in a couple of different spots. So, forgive me if we have any technical difficulties. Going live again. Gonna give folks a couple minutes to join us. I got two more Q&A questions that I'm gonna take some time to answer today. So thanks to everybody who joined us yesterday and everybody who watched our replays. We're gonna go ahead and get started here in just a moment. All right, and if you guys wanna comment from wherever you're at, I think I'm streaming in a couple of Facebook spots as well as on YouTube. You guys are more than welcome to leave a comment or drop a question. I'll go ahead and kick it off with, if you're interested in attending one of our upcoming Scrum Master webinars where you learn a little bit about our program, you guys can text Scrum to 469-382-5890 if you're interested in learning about some of our tuition packages or enrolling in the program. You can go to academy.mansatech.com. The web address is down below. Hopefully you guys can see that. All right, let me actually go to Facebook and YouTube and make sure we're streaming the way I want to and everything looks the way it should. I'm gonna go to scrumlife.com. That is our YouTube page. If you guys haven't been there already, I would advise you to go check it out, scrumlife.com. We've got a lot of great content there. Thanks to everybody who's joining us. Appreciate you all. We're gonna get started in just a minute. If you guys have any questions or comments you'd like to leave about Scrum or about transitioning into the role of a Scrum Master, you all are more than welcome to drop that question in the chat wherever we're streaming. It should pull up for me. Gonna check Facebook real quick. All right, looks like YouTube is good. I'm gonna go ahead and check. Let's see, let me check Facebook and make sure we're good. We're gonna get started here in just a minute, y'all. This is my first time streaming in this way to multiple platforms, so I just wanna make sure that we are good everywhere that I'm supposed to be streaming to. All right, Facebook is looking good too. All right, that logo could be a little bit smaller, but it's cool. I think you guys can see. All right, whatever. First time, it's cool. Mansatech.com 58. Let me make this number a little bit smaller so my people on Facebook can see it. Appreciate you all joining us. Once again, save that, and let me save this as well. Boom. All right, that should be good enough. So you can text Scrum to 469-382-5890. You can also go to academy.mansatech.com to find out more about our Scrum Master coaching program and if you got any questions for us. So first question that I received is from Saba. Saba says, when do you all have your sprint review event? 2 days before the sprint ends to work on feedback if time permits, or the last day of the sprint? All right, good question. So the ceremony of the sprint review is so that the Scrum team can review the work that they've done during the sprint and get feedback towards future increments of work. So you wouldn't necessarily use the sprint review as an opportunity to receive feedback on the current sprint that you're in. The feedback loops to receive feedback from the sprints that you're currently actively in should happen during your daily stand-up. That is your opportunity during the sprint to give and receive feedback on the progress of the team. So in my experience, all of my teams have had their sprint retrospective on the very last day of the sprint so that they can look at the sprint in its entirety, gather feedback from the team themselves, product owner, Scrum Master, other developers or testers, coders, whatever that are on the team, and give feedback to one another about the way they worked. So that is just a quick tip about sprint retrospectives. I would encourage you guys to make sure that you have action items that come out of your retrospectives that you can actually implement and put into practice in upcoming sprints. So the retrospective isn't just supposed to be, you know, a feel-good event where people just gather around and talk about feelings and have no specific outcomes or action items outside of that. So be really intentional about making sure that you come up with those action items and that you implement them in upcoming sprints. That's for the retrospective. Same thing for the sprint review. Sprint review, you're reviewing the work that you've done, gathering that feedback from your stakeholders, and implementing that in upcoming sprints. So that should be reflected in the product backlog as a team moves forward. So the product owner should be taking note of any action items that may change as a result of what stakeholders may want in upcoming sprints or in upcoming features. And the team should be taking note as far, again, from stakeholders about things that they implemented and if any potential changes need to happen. Product owners should document that, place that in a product backlog to reprioritize and implement in an upcoming sprint. So sprint review, sprint retrospective, those both happen on the last day of the sprint. In my experience for the team, I have seen it on a rare occasion happen first day of the following sprint, just depending on the schedule of the teams, but I would say that that's not ideal. Ideally, sprint review should happen, then sprint retrospective, and then the sprint should end shortly after the sprint retrospective. Good question. I'm going to go to the next question that I got from Oana. Hello, Scrum Masters. I am curious, what is the biggest challenge that you're facing in a new project? I'll start mine. Is a resistance to change. People involved in the project with no agile knowledge are enforcing their point of view, and they're using the reason we're working like this for 15 years still fine, even after I explain the benefits of implementing agile. This is similar to another one. They give another replica. Our project is different, our fixed price, and we have to make some micromanagement as well. Well, as a change agent, it's going to be your responsibility as a Scrum Master to implement change. So resistance to change is normal. Again, like I spoke about yesterday, it's human nature. So I would say that most Scrum Masters aren't going to go to an organization that's going to welcome them with open arms, as well as all of the changes that they may want to implement. So I would say don't let that discourage you. I would also say don't be a Scrum Guide or Agile Manifesto thumping Scrum Master. It's not enough for you to just go in and preach the benefits of Scrum. You've got to have, or let me rephrase it. It's not enough for you to go in and just quote the Scrum Guide or the Agile Manifesto. You have to also be willing to engage in conversations. You have to be willing to understand the organization and understand the nuance in that organization, because you cannot apply Scrum or Agile you cannot apply Scrum carte blanche to every organization. Remember, Scrum is a framework, and it's a framework because it's not rigid in the way it should be applied. There are a few things that you want to implement, and I would encourage every team, if you do want to digress or make some changes in the traditional implementation of Scrum, I would encourage you to practice the Japanese phrase that is shuhari, right? And so it's important that when you go into a new organization and you're implementing Scrum, it's important that I would say first you want to be in the shu stage, which is these are different stages of learning or mastery. So in the shu stage, you're basically just learning and you're following the Scrum Guide or following whatever it is. We can apply this to karate or riding a bike or what. Let's talk about riding a bike, right? So when you're riding a bike, you're learning just the fundamentals of riding a bike. You got both hands on the handlebars, you got both feet on the pedals, and you are pedaling at a specific cadence just so you don't fall off because you're in learning mode, right? at this phase, a parent or someone who's teaching you how to ride a bike is probably still holding on to the back of the bike, making sure that you don't fall, because they understand that you're just learning and you don't have a good understanding of how to keep your momentum and how to keep from falling off the bike, right? Then once you move into the ha stage, this is the stage where you have learned it and you can somewhat detach from the traditional way of riding, but you haven't mastered it. It's not a part of you yet, right? So maybe someone isn't necessarily holding on to the back of the bike to keep you from falling, but you may still be in your head saying, okay, pedal fast, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Make sure I don't fall, right? So this isn't a part of you. But after you've reached mastery phase, which is the re phase, riding a bike is like second nature to you. You can get on it and you don't have to think about riding a bike. You're not in your head and overly fearful about falling off of the bike or losing your momentum. So, and it's in the re phase that you can start doing some experiments and you can deviate from the norms because you've mastered it, right? So now if you want to learn how to pop wheelies and ride on one wheel or ride on the pegs or sit on the handlebars, right? You wouldn't attempt that in the shu or the ha phase. You would normally wait till you get to mastery of the traditional way of riding a bike to implement that. And so I would say the same thing of a Scrum team, right? Initially, you want to implement it kind of following the book, following the Scrum guide. And then only after your team has reached mastery phase and is moving towards being a little bit more high performing and they can look back in retrospective at the way they've been working and pick out the things that works for them and maybe some of the things that don't and the things that they want to change and iterate on, then your team should implement that. But I would again say, don't be discouraged of a team that is resistant to change. That is most teams. And usually it's not going to be good enough to just explain the benefits of Agile. This is when you're going to have to take your teacher hat off and move into a coaching hat and find out the pain points that the team is having, and then discuss Scrum and Agile in relation to how the framework or the values and principles can help alleviate some of those pains. So don't just go in with the heart of everyone is going to do it because I'm here and I say so. Really go in trying to make a connection and show the value to the team, show the value to the organization of why they should implement this. Don't just give them quotables from the Scrum Guide or the Agile Manifesto, right? Let's talk about truly implementing it and what that means to the team and how that is going to bring value to this team. All right, that's all I got for this evening. Again, my name is Victor Adetiba, and if you are interested in finding out more about our Mansa Tech Training Academy, where we help professionals transition to six-figure roles working as a Scrum Master in technology, you guys can text Scrum to 469-382-5890. That's Scrum to 469-382-5890. Or you guys can visit our website, academy.mansatech.com, to watch a copy of our webinar where we discuss our program and all of the different packages that we offer. And I think that's it. That's all I got for you guys this evening. Thanks for hanging out with me. You guys have a wonderful evening. Peace.